Hi everyone, welcome to Fort Mac. Even though the sun isn't shining, in a couple of days we should be getting a little bit more sunshine. And in the meantime, the rain isn't coming like it said it would, so I'm going to give the garden a bit of a water before I go inside. It's only the beginning of August and already layers are called for because I'll be freezing. I've spent the last 2 years following the sun, I guess. Although I've come back to Canada twice in the middle of December. The plan was to only be here for maybe 2 months tops. And sure enough, my mom fell, and then shortly after that, my dad got sick. So I got my results back in July, and I'm doing fantastic. Can't believe it. I'm very happy with that. But now I have to get my shit together so I can get out of here and do the next leg of what this life is all about. It's time for me to look at Google, which I've done for the last couple of days, and it looks like Bangkok, September 23rd. And the prices have gone up. Last year I got to Bangkok, last year I got to Phuket for $700, little over $700. This year it's going to cost me about $900, all in picking my seats and such. A little bit of a difference, a good $200 difference, and still a lot less expensive once I get there. These last couple of months have been a difficult time, especially with my father passing away. It's caused me to stay around a little bit longer than what I would. As well, I'm helping families, so I keep adjusting my plans to fit other people. And I keep sharing that in these videos. It's very difficult to stay on track, especially if you're a grandparent like myself and you have many facets going on. So now let's be honest. How many times have we gone out and bought an array of different books, or even used a program and decided we're going to keep track of everything? We're going to make a change here, only to go ahead and tap, tap, tap and do everything exactly the same. Using my strengths from my past as a project manager and an administrator, I started to turn that in on myself and make a life built for this me, or the one I was actually a couple of years ago. And now this me is looking at what the future me will be like. My main goal is to be able to afford my life in the future. Now, if you've gone through a divorce or a life change, whether it be health or loss of job, spouse, or who knows what, I've been around a few years and I've mentored a few people, and I'm telling you, when you least expect it, expect it. I built a life on the road on an $1,800 a month Canadian budget. And I have been able to stay well under that when I am not in Canada. It didn't take a new fancy app. It didn't take anything special other than me tracking my daily spending. I made a very simple spreadsheet. And before I left, I don't know, I'd say about 6 months before I left, I just started to track my spending, to know what it is that I was really spending and not what a bank app was telling me. The bank app is very general, and I have to sit and therefore do one more thing and look into what my exact spending was. And I probably won't do it, because if I'm already using the app to track my life, I'm not wanting to put that effort into that, because I'm putting my effort into something else. That's the normal findings that I've learned over time. I had no idea that just a few simple changes would get me to where I wanted to go, nor did I know that a lot of what I was doing was based on the Kakaibo method. It's a Japanese method of mindful spending and mindful living, and using their principles and just going back old school. You took money out of the bank, you spent what you had. There were no bank machines before I was in my 20s. And this act of tapping, it's great for capitalism and it's great for the people that are selling to you, but it's not great for your future self, your security, and what you might need to take care of yourself at this time. Getting sick put my income in half, and I've not been able to return to work, nor do I think I'll ever be able to return to work. And maybe not work ever, but not the way I did before. It's taken a couple of years of me doing this rebuild, and in that realizing I can't go backwards. And why would I want to? I'm only going forward in life. So why would I try to be my 50-year-old self again when I'm never going to be 50 again? So the first thing is getting clear on where I was and what I wanted. For years, I'm operating, and I still am, on what other people's needs are, whether it was my boss or my kids, or even just the different obligations I had to my young self, singing in a band and stuff like that. I don't have them anymore. And yet a lot of my spending had to do with taking my grandchild somewhere, paying for dinners or lunches when I was out with my children, going out with friends and having a good time, and treating myself to some new clothes constantly, or the accessories for them. One morning I just got up and thought, okay, this has to stop, because if I want to be doing something else, I can't be doing the same thing. I made sure that the questions to myself were a lot less vague, and I put a few details down as to what I wanted. I knew I wanted to travel. I didn't have a home. I lived in an apartment, but even that, I couldn't hold the apartment and be traveling. The two didn't financially work for me. So I knew I would be getting rid of everything. I would be traveling, and I would be on my own. That was three very important things. I also figured out in my first year of travel that I would go back to my card reading full time, or maybe not go back to it, but apply myself full time to the card reading. I'm doing the YouTube channel, but I had to find out what I wanted, not what society wanted or what I thought was normal. I had to do what I longed for, where my dreams sat, and get in touch with that first. Once I knew that I'd be getting rid of everything and I'd be traveling, the next was to become prepared. Action is more important than all the talking we'll do. For years, I was saying I would sell everything. For years, I had all sorts of choices that I would have made, and I didn't make any of them because I was worried about my children and their future. Now that that's not a worry to me anymore, or not my full-on responsibility, I needed to also think about the fact not seeing my grandson all the time did not make me any less a good grandmother. I had to sell everything, and I did. That was scary. I still look back at wanting some of the pots and pans I had because my children didn't want them. Not important. Get rid of it all. Those things that we have can also be a burden as to why we don't make any change. You can't expect different results in your life and continue to do the same thing. Probably the next thing I had to do was get okay with feeling uncomfortable. Before I sold everything, a year or so before, I had my grandson every second weekend, if not more, and then I was sick. That was where I housed myself. A lot of our homes, or where we live, is our sanctuary. And in selling everything, I gave that up. That was difficult. But it also helped me find that my real sanctuary, and maybe didn't help me find, because I already knew this prior, my sanctuary is in me. Everything outside of me can affect me. Only the inside of me can keep me stable, can keep me happy, can keep me sound. And I had to believe in that more. I had to turn inward, that my value came more from within me than providing for you. In the Cacaibo method, they ask 4 fundamental questions. How much do you have? How much do you want to save? How much am I spending? And how much can I improve? So $1,800 a month is going to allow me to live and travel and save. And that was very important. I don't want to spend all my money like as if I'm going to be gone tomorrow. I could be here a good 20, 30 years more, and therefore I still have to save for my future. And I know from running businesses and doing financials that it only takes a few short years to turn everything around. So if you have debt, maybe $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 worth of debt, and if your income is only around $2,500 a month, depending on how you change your physical being and how you live, You can pay off that debt and save at the same time and see a very different life some 3 years down the road. And 3 years might seem like forever, but it isn't. 3 years is forever if you end up 3 years down the road and nothing's changed. Because trust me, that debt is compounding way faster than any savings you have. So I had to get clear on needs and wants. So needs are a roof over my head, food in my stomach, and my health, and maybe getting around. Wants are new cosmetics, extra clothes, and fancy. How does any of my choices I make now fit for my future? As I said, I can't be living and judging myself on my 50-year-old being. At 50 years old, I was in Cuba running contracts here in Canada, operating in a self-employment program, doing mentoring for people on the side, taking care of my children, singing in a band, and hanging out with my friends. 12 short years later, my life is a lot more compact and a lot more quiet. I could not now, with what's gone on, take care of everybody that I was, nor could I go back to business the way I am. So in getting right with where I'm going to be in the future or what my abilities might be in the future, it was a lot easier to make the changes that I needed to make today, or to get honest with myself on what I really wanted to do today or could afford to give to myself today. And then when I am out and about, as I'm keeping track of my spending, is, do I really need this? Is this something I really need? What I'll tend to do is, if it's not a necessity, like food, then I will maybe look at it, go research it, but I won't buy it. I'll put it down. And it's interesting to find out that when you give a little bit more emotional accountability and you're not just working on autopilot, tap, 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 because I did this before, you'll not need it. You'll realize it was just something that would, in my case, would just be something I have to take care of again. When I'm trying to minimize my life, the old me is trying to still outfit what I used to have. And then reclaim your time. Reclaiming your time, that's the hard one for me. I've been doing a lot of card readings in the last few months, and it's very interesting because I've been a card reader for over 30 years. And I've not heard this statement as much as I have in the last, say, 2 years. And that is, I can never see myself retiring. That's incredible, because that's why we did all this work. That's why we went through this life. That's why we gave all we gave, because one day we would reclaim our time and we would give to us. Any good business does an inventory of where it is and where it's going in the future. And that's what I'm trying to do for myself. I'm trying to do a good inventory of what I've tried, what's worked for me, and where I'm going in the future, getting older. I want to make sure that whatever it is I'm planning for my future, one, I can afford so I don't have to stress. Two, I have the ability to commit to and keep going so I don't expend on my health or my energy more than I need to, and be happy, personally happy. So real health and wealth, I believe, starts with your own awareness and not automation. I could give you every fast trick in the book, and if you're not going to do any of them, you just had a good time listening to my video. But real awareness is what's going to get you moving forward. You may be saying to yourself on occasion, what am I even here for? I thought I wouldn't be doing this by now. I was going to change this. Or maybe it's something more like, oh, when are they ever going to learn? When are they ever going to get it? No one has to get it, just you. Nor does anyone have to agree, just you. So if you're rebuilding, remember, your life is what you can control, not the situations and the people that are happening around you. If you're ready to fix some of those foundational triggers that you keep seeing yourself going back to, get yourself a simple notebook and write down where your money is going. Focus on your reality and what it is you really are telling yourself, or where your money really is going. Because the more you're in tune with where you are and where you feel you're going, the more happy you will be, the less stress you'll have. And others may not understand it, but they don't have to. You do. You're living your life for you, not for 101 other people. Taking time for yourself will pay off in great value in the end. So take a moment, grab yourself a notebook, and make those notes on what it is you want, where it is you want to go, and how it is you'll make it happen. And we'll touch base next week, and we'll talk more about what you might need to do to get yourself back self-employed.